You ever get that feeling that you're just stuck on a hamster wheel with your finances? You know, you work so hard, but you feel like you're not really getting ahead? Well, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to break down exactly what the rat race is, and more importantly, how you can get out of it, pulling some key lessons from the classic, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I mean, does this sound familiar at all? That paycheck lands in your account and poof, before you can even blink, it's just gone. Sucked up by bills, rent, you name it. If you're sitting there nodding your head right now, you get it. And look, that's the first step. Just realizing what's happening is half the battle.
All right, so let's get into it. What is this rat race that everyone talks about? It's one of those phrases we throw around all the time, right? But if you really want to escape it, you've got to know your enemy. So let's define this thing.
And there it is, in a nutshell. It's that non-stop cycle. You go to your 9 to 5, you get paid, you pay your bills, and you're just surviving until the next paycheck. There's no forward momentum, no real growth. And here's the kicker. It doesn't matter if you're making $50,000 or $200,000 a year. If you're chained to that next paycheck, you're in the race.
So, take a look at these. Do any of them hit a little too close to home? That feeling of being totally dependent on one job, having zero time or, let's be honest, zero energy for the things you actually love? Or maybe you're just constantly complaining about work. It's more than just a money problem, isn't it? It's this state of being that just drains you completely.
Exactly. It's not just about your bank account being empty, it's about you feeling empty. It's the burnout, the stress, that soul-crushing feeling that you're running as fast as you can, but you're not actually going anywhere. That's the real price you pay.
Okay, so we've spent some time digging into the problem. We know what it looks like, what it feels like. So now what? Well, now we talk about the solution. And here's the big secret. Escaping the rat race isn't about finding a better paying job. It's about a total shift in how you think about money. And man, Robert Kiyosaki really just hits the nail on the head here. Think about it. All through school, what are we taught? We're taught how to be good employees, right? How to get a job and work for money. But nobody ever teaches us how to make our money work for us. That financial education, that's the key that unlocks the whole thing.
And this is it. This is the big mindset shift right here. You have to stop just working for money. You need to flip the script and learn how to make money work for you. It's about going from being a consumer to being an owner, an investor. Imagine every single dollar you have as a tiny employee working around the clock to make you more money. That's the goal.
So, that leads us to probably the single most important lesson in this entire book, maybe in all of personal finance. If you can truly understand and apply this one simple concept, you are already miles ahead of the game.
It seems so simple, right? Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out. But honestly, this is where so many people get tripped up. The rich focus their energy on buying assets, things that will generate more money for them. But the rest of us? We're often encouraged to buy liabilities that we think are assets, like a fancy new car that loses value the second you drive it off the lot.
And when we say assets, don't just think of old school stocks and real estate. Those are great. In today's world, an asset can be so many different things. It could be a rental property, sure, but it could also be a successful YouTube channel, a blog that earns ad revenue, or even a digital course you created. Anything that generates income for you without you having to actively trade your time for it, that's an asset.
Okay, enough theory. I think we get the concept, right? So let's get practical. How do you actually start building up that asset column? How do you create your own personal escape plan? Well, here are a few super actionable strategies you can literally start today.
First things first, you got to know where your money is going. And the 50-30-20 rule is a fantastic, simple way to get a handle on it. Basically, you aim for 50% of your income to go to your absolute needs, like rent and food. 30% goes to your wants, the fun stuff. But that last 20%, that is the magic number. That's what you set aside for savings and, crucially, for investing in assets.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. 20%? There's no way I can save that much. Well, let me tell you a quick story. I had this colleague who was absolutely convinced he was broke, that he had zero extra money to invest, but he had a daily cigarette habit. So he made a change. He just redirected the money he was spending on cigarettes into a savings account instead. And the amount he managed to save was this. That's right, 10% of his entire salary was saved in just 6 months. And how? Not by getting a massive raise, not by winning the lottery. Just by redirecting one small daily expense. It really shows you that powerful savings habits often hide in the small choices we make every single day.
So, if that 20% rule still feels like climbing Mount Everest, try this instead. It's called the 1% savings method. It's so simple. The first month, you just save 1% of your income. That's it. The next month, you bump it up to 2%. You keep increasing it by 1% each month. Before you know it, in less than a year, you'll be saving 10% or more, and you'll barely even feel it because you did it so gradually.
Look, getting out of the rat race isn't something that happens overnight. It really is a marathon, not a sprint. But it's not some impossible dream either. It starts with getting educated, shifting how you think about money, and then having the courage to take that very first small step. So the only question left is, what's the first step you're going to take?